Welcome back, Slayer players. It has been a long time since I did one of these DooM map review videos, and now it is time to do another top 5 best and worst maps list for another megawatt. This one is called the new DooM Community Project 2, not to be confused with just DooM Community Project 2. Now, you may be thinking, wait, Darkstar, why don't you do the new DooM Community Project 1 maps first? Honestly, I did play through them, and most of the maps are average, and there are only 2 maps on there that I would highly recommend. The first being Map 15, City of Lost Souls, kind of like a bigger version of Downtown and Industrial Zone, and the second good map being 26, Silence Progression, because of how moderately balanced and basic detail it has for a short map. One map on there that I would watch out for and be cautious about is Map 19, Maintenance Area, because of how overly complex the map is and how you have to rely on looping around certain areas, flipping switch after switch. It can be very convoluted and also a bit claustrophobic, and you will spend a while trying to get through the level, and I would say if you backtrack, try not to go back too much. Going one way will save your time, and make sure to not skip any rooms or single paths to unlock as much as you can. Some switches unlock areas that are accessed further into the map. And the map I would avoid completely is Map 27, No Breaks, because of how unfair and how unbalanced the design and challenge is. That is all I would say about the first new DooM Community Project maps. As for the second new DooM project, I am going to be listing what I say is the 5 best maps, then go over the worst. But before I go into the list of maps, I need to iterate that you should only play the maps by immediately launching the levels, and not progress through them one by one, and it is because of a certain dumb texture this megawatt features, and it is this right here. So let this be a first hint and a warning to those who would play, but wait until you hear my list. This megawatt also has 2 custom monsters, a possessed clone marine that replaces the Commander Keen that always fires stationary, and a nightmare-fueled 2-eyed cacodemon called the Slomnibus that replaces the Wolfenstein Soldier, which zips around fast and blows up next to you, one of the worst enemies I've experienced. I'll just call it the Kakokazi. So with that, let's start at the best maps in this megawatt, but first, the honorable mention. Map 5, Wasted. You could consider this as the number 6 best map. For a sewer-themed level, it is pretty decent and balanced in challenge and level progression. The main obstacle and hazard, which is the toxic sludge, doesn't do anything to deliberately block players from getting through the objectives. Door to door and key to key, you have more than enough room to deal with the enemies. At some points you will have vantage points that the enemies don't. The few narrow pathways in the map don't overstay their welcome, and are used in an acceptable way with weak monsters. Best map in 5th place is Map 28, Rusted Turmoil. The shape of the rooms in this map may be basic, but the heavy action gameplay as well as the high beat soundtrack really put this level up. If you want to brutal test of monster hordes after monster hordes, then this map is for you. However, if you try to walk through this map in a no-save run while on a fresh start, then get ready for a close clutch endurance map because this map is hard with the numbers. You have to kill over 300 demons and half of them are considered heavies. Get ready because this map may make you hate revenants. Saving occasionally is what I recommend. This map is actually fun with mods like Brutal Doom or Complex Doom. It has an interesting layout progression and design, with fun gameplay, but it is difficult, so stay on your toes if you blaze through this map without saving. Best map in 4th place is Map 11, Painkiller. At the start, it has a familiar shape, being the ant room of the secret map of Knee Deep in the Dead. That is until you exit and you notice this map has a well-made style to it, with a decent amount of detail, seeing extended rooms through lifts, and having enough space for most areas to deal with the monsters. If this style seems familiar to you, then that's because it was made by our good old friend, Dutch Devil. I have mentioned this guy before in previous Top Custom Doom map videos. He just knows how to make good maps, specifically how he constructs the interiors of the rooms. Everything is properly bordered and decorated, and the challenge for the map is acceptable. Not too hard and not too easy. Third place best map is the beginning, Map 1, The Hive. Made by, once again, Dutch Devil. He cannot disappoint when making interesting and decent custom Doom levels. He picks a certain theme when making a level, and makes sure he sticks to it for the rest of the map. For this, you have a dark-based texture style that really goes well with the brimstone feel of the whole level. The monster encounters are also very well done. Since it is the very first level, you would expect the rest of this megawatt to hold up to the standards that this map has. Unfortunately, that isn't the case for many of the other maps. However, there are still some other good maps to show. In second place is Map 10, Darkstar. Now, you may think I'm crazy for putting this map above two Dutch Devil maps. However, there is something about this map that I want Doom players to experience when it comes to level progression. Every time you press a switch, always, if not most of the time, the area shows what the switch activates nearby, usually through clear windows. Even though the map may seem like a maze, it is a maze done right because the sense of direction and showing the next objective is clear. This is how switch-based level progression should look like. Not switches that open something from far away that you don't see. The next objective that is activated by a switch almost always shows the next pathway you are supposed to take. There are very little times when you may get lost in this map. One thing that I could say about this map is that you may experience ammo shortage, but if you're doing it outside of a fresh start, then you could easily beat this level. When it comes to regular objectives, not secrets, switches should always show what they unlock, close for the player to hear. And the number one level in this WOD, especially for its design, is Map 29, Absolute Evil. If you just take one look at this map, you just go, oh my gosh, this is glorious. Basically, the style and the design of this map make you instantly admire it. The hellish landscape, the towering structures, and the great castles to explore, it has more than enough for it to be a decent map. It has low-level stress to obtain the keys and unlock doors. And also, guess one of the people who helped build this map. Can you guess? That's right, Dutch Devil. Why do the Dutch always make the good stuff? If there is one con about this map, it is the lack of monsters in some areas, specifically in the starting area. However, when enemies are present, you know you will enjoy the combat. So those are the best maps. However, there is one map I was going to put as the 5th place, but ended up throwing it out. It has a good design and great gameplay, but the way it starts for the player is unfair. Map 23, Magma. Right off the bat, you are surrounded not just by many enemies, strong enemies, including those nightmare fuel Kakokazis. It may give you a lot of ammo, but it is mostly for other weapons, and the problem is that if you launch this map at a fresh start on the ultra-violence difficulty, the only weapons you have are your pistol and a regular shotgun, not the super shotgun. they can only do so much damage. Even relying on monster infighting will barely hold up. Not even the distant cover behind the buildings will protect you for long, because of all the cacodemons and big heavy enemies that take so long to kill with just the regular shotgun, which is only good at killing weak enemies, not heavies. If you go somewhere else desperately trying to find health, ammo, and other weapons, you will just end up attracting the attention of more heavy enemies. It has a nice design, but a bad starting point. I don't consider it as one of the worst maps, but it isn't a player-friendly one either, not as a fresh start at least. Now since that's out of the way, it is time to list the worst levels on this map pack, but first the dishonorable mention. Map 20 Caverns. Now you may think that this can be a decent cave/sewer level, except there is one gleaming problem that breaks this whole map. Sometimes players will encounter this room, and when they are about to exit after they open it up, the way to exit can close again for nothing, because the mapper didn't think to turn on a door raise repeat action for this switch, and also here comes the bigger problem, the mapper didn't realize that putting two different line defs next to each other, which both would trigger the close command, would get players stuck. Players will go through one line def when they enter, then activating the other line def closing the way off permanently. Even I had to patch my maps if they had something to get players stuck. People should test their maps 3 times before releasing them. Now for the 5 worst maps that you should avoid, especially the last one, as the top worst map is objectively bad, and I am dead serious when I say that. But first to number -5. Map 15, Halfway Between, aka Down the Drain in the intermission screen. You start the map and there's a bunch of doors all over the place, in the shape of a single hallway. Don't be deceived because it actually loops when you get to the end, like a Pac-Man effect. The gameplay and combat are fine, but the progression and design are not. You clear an area full of enemies, you activate a switch, and you still cannot reach the key. So you go back into the endless hallway to look for a different door. You cannot go through this to get to the portal, so you look for something else. You activate a switch, and all that happens is monsters appear, but you don't know what it activates. Remember what I said about Greystar, where every switch is right next to what it opens? This map does the exact opposite nearly half the time. The sense of direction for this map is near non-existent. I hate having to check every other room just to look for one thing that opened. And let me show you what the stupidest door does. It teleports you to random directions, with very deceiving arrows on them. And why does this map have Ace Attorney music? Not that it's a problem. Getting from one objective to another should be clear, not cryptic. -4th place, Map 21, Second Attention. This level may have a fancy and artistic style to it, but that's the wolf in sheep's clothing for this map. Art is one thing, but progression and playability is more important. Like Caverns, it has game-breaking problems. Right at the start, you will encounter a couple of them. When you enter this void area, you are able to fall off this walkway, this narrow walkway, especially when you're trying to dodge the attacks. Depending on the source port, it teleports you to a small place to either kill you, or you get stuck permanently.
What the shit? You can't go back? I'm trapped? You're shitting me. This game is shitting me.
Then right after that, you get to a room where a door will close. Then after you clear the enemies to try to open the door, but you cannot find the switch. And then you wander around looking for the way to open it, only to then slowly find out that there is little tiny hidden switches that lowers the blocks. You then squint to find the rest before advancing. Again, that should be reserved for secrets, not actual objectives. Then as you make your way through the level from a fresh start, especially on ultra-violence difficulty, like Magma, you struggle with your weapons. You have just a shotgun and a pistol for most of the first half of the level, including fighting multiple enemies in narrow pathways and narrow spaces. I cannot dodge projectiles enough in those areas. At least Magma didn't get the player a permadeath easily. You can make a good-looking palace, but if that same palace has many heavy enemies in cramped spaces and having little to no heavy weapons and having to struggle to get through paths like hugging onto ledges to not fall off, that is a map I say no to. Negative third place, map 22, Evil Eye. From one bad map to another, you start up and see the barrels in front of you and your first instinct is, shoot the barrels, but then... an unstoppable force of archviles blows you away, and if you didn't save, you lose either your progress or your inventory. So then you look around and go through here. You find out that you have to shoot the barrels when you are in specific areas where the eyes aren't present. You have to shoot from specific locations. One is right here where you have to kill revenants blocking the path. One of the cheapest examples is right here trying to get one of the shotgunners to kill the other. I get what this mapper was trying to do, a unique mechanic as a way to advance the level with a new type of trap as the theme, but it is gimmicky, convoluted, and not thought out thoroughly. Having a unique idea is one thing, but execution is another, and it failed, especially since you cannot get all the kills here. It is impossible, not with all those archviles. But if you thought this level was gimmicky, well, the next one is even worse. And speaking of which, the last two worst maps on this list are made by the same person, who was also the one that thought the Nightmare Fuel Kakokazi was a good idea. Negative second place, map 19, Darkseed. Okay, where am I? Where are the doors? Where do I go? Do I look at the map? No, it's all hidden! Where's the door? Okay, here it is. What was that? Oh god, get back. These barrels are getting in the way. Hope those flying barrels don't hit. Where do I go? Guess I go through here now? No, I can't! What am I supposed to do? Where do I go? What do I do? Oh, I shoot the wall? If only I knew that from the beginning. Okay, where am I? Where do I go? What am I supposed to do? What do I do?
And what am I supposed to do here? What do I do?
I literally cannot get through this map. I gave up twice in this map, in 2 separate full playthroughs, and just ended up skipping it. I first stopped here on this fake teleporter, Then in my second attempt, I stopped here in this stupid, cramped maze. Maps like Rusted Turmoil are challenging, but this map is not challenging. It is virtually unplayable. And finally, negative first place is Map 17 Headache, also known as Alien Tech in the intermission screen. Now I know what you're thinking, how can anything be worse than a virtually unplayable map? I mean, this is the map right here, right? How is it bad, you ask? Just wait until I show you the problem with this map. Actually, that's the thing. I cannot show you the issue with this map. And no, it's not because of explicit content or hateful material. It is because, you know what, if anyone is planning on trying this map, I am forced to issue a health warning. Because this map can in fact cause physical damage! Remember the stupid textures I told you about? Like this rapid color changing surface right here? Well, that is the problem for this map. There's an area that you have to get through to complete the map, and I am not allowed to show it, or at the very least, not as video footage. That's not the only problem in this map. At the start, you clear the areas, then open a door to see a tech wall, and you try to press on it and it does nothing. Then you go around asking where the next exit is, until you find out if you attack this thing, it opens up. Again, that is a stupid way to progress without any hints to know that's how to get through. I'm going to tell you right now, I really hate these fast-moving nightmare fuel kakokazis. In this map, they hide in packs next to close corners, giving you very little time to back off before they blow up. Thank God they cannot fly. Okay, now, when you arrive in this area, this is where the worst thing in this whole megawad contains. Yeah, here's a map. This whole area right here has the floors and ceilings covered completely with that painful headache and seizure-inducing texture. The only thing I am allowed to show is a still image screenshot of what the area looks like. This is literally the only safe way for me to show it. You have to press multiple switches to unlock an objective, and to add insult to injury, the area is filled with specters that you cannot see, and you have to have a radiation suit because the area itself does damage. So that's two different ways the player can get damaged, in-game and in real life. You may think this is the reason why it's called Headache, but unfortunately, according to the author's notes, that's not the case, which makes it even worse and concludes that the author wasn't aware of what the content of the map would do. This level should be called NFT the Map.
It could possibly cause seizures. I'm not joking around, and for that reason, I'm not going to show it. So this makes it a rare instance where the game is actually so bad that I can't show it for safety and health reasons.
Shame on the map project lead for allowing this map, shame on them for allowing the texture, and shame on the author for creating this map. To anyone making a map, especially a map pack, do not, I repeat, do not include maps or textures that have areas filled with content that may cause physical damage, and it does not matter if some people can take it. The point is, everyone should take it. So my summary for this map pack, just avoid it unless if you want to enjoy the individual good levels that I listed, or at the very least, avoid these bad maps. If you want to play a real good AAA/S rank Megawad with quality levels, play Eviternity instead, and also play the recently released Eviternity 2. That is it for this video. It will be a long while before I make another worst/best list. In the future, I am going to make a top 20 best Proteus community maps list. So to all you good Slayer players out there, keep ripping and tearing demons, avoid having headaches and seizures, and have a great life.